Take this job and shelve it. It's part of the new economy. Self employment. Are you in? By Christopher Boswell. Read by Brandon Roseanne. The memory of my first job is fresh in my mind as if it were yesterday, even though it was over 4 decades ago. I was just 13. It was a summer position in the very high school I would be attending in just a few years and fairly laid back. I've learned so many things since that time I had no basis for then. I was just happy to have a reason to get out of the house and earn some spending money. Back then, the traditional way to earn was to trade time and labor for money, one for one. The guy who led me at work most often was an old Robin Trower loving hippie who was quick to offer up a fresh rolled joint. I liked him. We would sit on breaks up in the gym bleachers some Sundays and light up as we were the only people in the building. But I digress. Lessons were coming soon as it did not take me long to create some significant destruction. We were running the floor polishers in the hallways next to the floor to ceiling windows besides the cafeteria. This function was one of the more challenging tasks as the buffer took some coordination to operate. I had just earned enough trust from the crew and supervisor to get this privilege. It was a Monday and school was in session, and then it happened. My buffer went too wide and hit one of the windows. It shattered instantly. The sound was deafening. Kids screaming, glass crashing, then laughing. It seemed to take forever to quiet. I stood horrified, only to look up and see the school principal looking right at me in disgust. He had witnessed the mishap. We then got to clean a sea of glass up off the floor, which was a production in itself. My first big mistake at work. The coming education was just beginning. That's really the last memory I have of that job, as it vaporized very quickly from there. In the years that followed, walking that same hallway as a student gave me ample opportunity to regret my fall from grace. One moment, one slip, everything changes forever. You may be wondering where this is headed, or for some, it may be painfully obvious. My next job assignment was transformational, with caring and nurturing restaurant owners who really took me under their wing, allowing me to carry out important management functions. Somehow, 5 years of service was compiled as they extended grace on many occasions, only expecting me to work a 40-hour week, rare in hospitality. Great lessons about life and business came from that position that are still being utilized today. I drove Sam's car to my prom, made good friends, even hired a few, and generally felt like I fit. Yet the end was near, and much like the floor buffing incident, it all came in the blink of an eye. The job was gone, hero to zero, with one event perpetuated by two unenlightened young people only thinking of themselves. This listing of like experience could go on, but let me accelerate a bit for all those afflicted with ADHD among us. Somehow, my background did not offer me the chance, or I did not create it, to go to college. Being in such a hurry to get out of my mother's house and get my own place, work seemed like the only answer, which I did achieve before almost all of my friends. I only say almost in a feeble attempt at humility. I was the only one who had my own place. Looking back now, there are some regrets. Education is important, a good base. Getting that is easier than I thought. The next 10 years would be spent managing and supporting more restaurants working 6-day, 60-hour weeks with barely one day off to recover and do chores. There were absolutely zero efforts at building the cooperation of me. I endured it at the time because it almost paid the bills and gave me a sense of accomplishment. Before I left the house, after my dad had cut out, Mom would come down and answer the doorbell once a week or so in the evening. It was someone she had met at work. They had arranged to have her do some typing, data entry for the time. By that hour, she had already put in an 8-hour day. Ends were not meeting up. More work supporting the dreams of others was there for me to witness. Yet she had taken an important step, creating something for herself outside of a job. Restaurants would provide me relocation and new experiences, plus more money, and in my mind, I was off the races. Somehow, I had luckily stumbled into a career calling. I had keys to something. A feeling of importance came. Then there was a serious incident A fight broke out at midnight on St. Patrick's Day in the very busy, overstuffed, crowded restaurant bar I was managing. It was a mess. Turned out to be a group of local off duty police officers who started it. A huge brawl ensued. I had 5 security people on staff that night. We finished it by bouncing them out via force, and more happened in the parking lot despite my direction for our staff to come back inside. One guy would not yield, continuing to attack. We called the police, who showed up and did nothing that seemed normal. Of course, a few days later, I would find out why. Assault charges were filed for the entire security staff, and drumroll for me. Some members of the police department were very upset and vowed revenge verbally to each of us during the booking process, nothing short of horrifying. To amplify matters, a similar, less intense incident occurred a week later on a quiet night with 8 off duty state troopers. Again, I was at the precipice. I had been on the fast track at this national chain with hundreds of locations. The company hired us all lawyers, one each for the assault charges. This case dragged on for 2 years before they finally dropped the charges. Yet another feather in the cap of my work life education. I knew it was time to make a change. It was right there, that moment the commitment was made. I had to create something of my own, something for myself. Looking back, it all happened so very fluidly, as if scripted. I made one decision, did some soul searching, and steered my own boat. My lifelong obsession to investigate the possibility of a creative career was about to begin. There is so much more to say about this and share. Yet, remember our collective ADHD? I'll tell you more later in writing to come about the change of direction that started out of the raw catalyst. For now, let me put an adequate little bow on this story. The endeavor, created way back then, has been growing brick by brick now for 32 years. It has grown and evolved each year. It costs almost nothing to launch. Income streams came out of it, not just one basket full of eggs ready to disappear. I have gained much education and just recently became the first in my family to earn a college degree. There has been no hero to zero event since. Instead, Me Incorporated is being built, brick by brick, replacing nearly endless toil in a long forgotten or defunct restaurant chain. And the best part is, you can do it too. There has never been a better time to create something for yourself that not only earns income but enriches others. Your computer, laptop, tablet, or cell phone connects you to the perfectly named World Wide Web, more importantly, to its 7.7 billion people. That's right, 7,700,000,000 and counting. It is hard to express the shift this has made in my life. Excitement has replaced dread, endless energy has replaced fatigue, accolades and praise have replaced criticism and micromanagement. Since you are reading this, it may be easy to deduct that you have a desire to build the incorporated of you as well. You are likely in just the right place. There's only one question left to be answered right now. What will you create to add value to your brand today? P.S. This story was written from scratch this morning upon walking in about an hour and is 1,200 or so words. More bricks placed and mortared being offered to the world in the new economy. I hope you found some value in this article. If you did, please follow the links below for more of my recent work. Maybe another will resonate. Christopher. Copyright and trademarked by Christopher Boswell, 2019, all rights reserved. When Christopher isn't writing from home, he can be found traveling or capturing photographs somewhere in the United States, or generating graphic design, processing images or video, flying his unmanned aerial vehicle, wrangling dogs, or backpacking and kayaking. He lives in Tacoma, Washington. His photographic and design endeavors can be viewed at www.railwindowcreative.com. Clicking on the links below or on image credits may take you away from medium.com, depending on your browser settings. Thank you.